Hello, welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Welcome to Gatwick. And yes, it hasn't escaped me that motorbike prices are ridiculous at the moment. The price of new bikes, as I've discussed in other videos, is playing a big part in a bit of a downturn in motorbike sales and downturn of the number of dealers we have available. And it does feel a bit remiss of me to go around talking about shiny new motorbikes that are expensive and not affordable to lots of people. And actually, as part of this story, my local bike dealership closed down, P&H, here in kind of Gatwick, Crawley area, back in October 2024, I think it was. But the space hasn't been wasted. It has reopened as a Superbike Factory, and I'm sure lots of you are familiar with the Superbike Factory. As I understand it, it's kind of a pile them high, sell them cheap, no comeback second-hand bike shop where they don't really prep their bikes. They just put them on sale and you're buying what you're seeing as it stands, which sounds fine if you're very price sensitive. I've never been to one. There's lots of them all over the country. I think they started up in Derby or something like that, but this is the first one anywhere near me, so I'm on my way on the Tenere 700 to check it out and see what's what. Now, they might not let me film inside, in which case this video won't be going up, but hopefully they will, and I'll just pick out some of the interesting things from their mammoth list of stock. I'm turning up unannounced, so let's see how we get on at this Superbike Factory and see if there are actually second-hand bargains that would tempt me away from new stuff. Let's have a look. Oh, it is weird not seeing the P&H branding. Oh, hello. I'll park next to you. Proper old Tiger 955. Lovely. I do believe Jeff Hill did some big adventures on them. Right, let's go and check it out. Superbike Factory. It's still got, I don't know if that's the old branding stickers in the window from P&H. Kawasaki, Triumph, Honda, Aprilia, BMW. Are they allowed to use those logos? Oh, we'll find out. There's a clothing bit next door in what used to be the Honda dealer. Because interestingly, for me, if you're a Honda dealer, you have to have a separate building for your Honda franchise to the other brands. I've just washed this, and now I've got a wet bum. Right, they've agreed to let me film inside. So this is the old P&H site here. It is large, and it's a, yeah. If you've never been to one of these, which I haven't, it's a proper Aladdin's cave. P&H used to have lots of walls in here, but this is vast. Look at this. It's like an Aladdin's cave of shiny things that will, or may not financially ruin you. So there used to be lots of dividers, so you never really got a size of the scale, but they've knocked lots of the walls through and filled it with motorbikes. So let's go and have a look, see if we can find any used bike bargains. Actually, I'm going to start over here, because I've got a soft spot for these. The old 1050 speed triples. I whinge on the channel a lot about how the new engine isn't as fun as the old one. This is 1050 speed RS. It's a 2018 plate, less than 10,000 miles on it. It's got 7,800 pounds on it. That looks mint. And obviously you've got the carbon panels. This one's got the aero exhaust on it. That's a lot of bike for under 8 grand. It's barely used. Now, my dad used to have one of these, Thruxton 900. He had a red one. I think, did he crash that into a car? I can't remember. He might have just fallen off that one. Some hyper motards as well, but no 950s. Now these, I do like a Katana. I don't think these sold very well because it had a tiny fuel tank. So it's got the old K5 Gixxer engine. So you can go very fast, but not for very far. And I think that's reflected in the price. This one's done 3,000 miles. It's a 2019 plate. It's £6,300. I mean, I don't know. I don't really get the retro thing. I'm a bit young for that. A couple of SVs as well. Down here, somewhere, yeah. Do you remember these? The Suzuki B King. I used to read Bike Magazine religiously when these were new, and I always thought, yeah, it's like Judge Dredd, got very angry. Basically, I think it's a Hayabusa engine naked bike, isn't it? So these are always a bit Marmite. 7.5 grand, 2010, 15,500 miles. Or there's this one, which has got 10,000 miles for 8 grand, and some very tasteful flame decals and loud exhausts. delightful. That one's got a Zard on it as well. I think you have to be a certain type of person to pull that off, and I don't think I'm that sort of person. Right, what else have we got? Right, VFR 800. So 2015 VFR 800, basically the same bike Honda has always sold. I really like the idea of these. This one's got 15,000 miles on it. It's just over 4,800 pounds, but the sensible brain in me, not that I've got much of one, says that you should actually buy a Honda that's over here. Now, I used to love the VFR 1200. They're quite quirky, they're quite heavy, and then they put the engine in an adventure style bike, the CrossTourer. So I rode one of these once. It was hilarious. It's one of the most top heavy bikes I've ever ridden, but yeah, 1200cc-ish V4. It's not exactly over-endowed in the brake department. There's another one here as well, and another one. So yeah, these are about 6.5 grand, with this one's got 8,000 miles on it. So if you want a V4 that's got some serious grunt and isn't as uncomfortable as a VFR 1200, that would be my suggestion. Now, you had the CrossTourer, you had the Crossdresser, and also, does anyone remember this? The Crossrunner? I did the NC 500 on one of these around the top of Scotland, and it was great. It's a sit-up and beg VFR 800, basically. This one's got some crash bars and wanker lights on it. 5.5 grand for a Honda V4, 12,000 miles on it. This one is a late 2018 model. They hustle. I mean, it's not sexy. It's got the wrong way up forks and all the rest of it, as in right way up forks. And this one is in Doom Grey. But honestly, if you like your V4 thrills and you've got a bad back, consider one of those. Okay, 2012 Ducati Multistrada 1200 S, I think, with the Erlin shocks and Brembo brakes. This one's got matte paint and 3-case luggage. I had one of these, or the slightly later model. I had a 2013 version with the Skyhook suspension. This is a great bike. It still feels like an 1198 engine. They hadn't really got around to softening off the bottom end. It still felt vicious. It still felt nasty. It's got just under 10,000 miles on it, and it's 6 grand. 6 grand, that's half the price of the new Tenere I'm gonna buy. What am I doing? Yeah, I could do with some slight tidying up of the radiator and all the rest of it. But that is going to be a great bike for someone that wants to tour and actually do a bit of scratching as well. Now, this is basically my old bike. I had a 21 plate KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. It tickled my pickle. It was exceptionally entertaining, especially in rally mode. I loved it. I had to sell it to a guy in Greece to get rid of one of mine. And one of mine, my one, this one is 11.7, which is what I sold mine for, and I had 3,000 miles more in it than this, so this feels like a little bit of a bargain if you want a KTM, which is obviously a bit of a hot topic at the moment. Now, we've got some other things. Triumph Tiger Sport, that's very on trend now that we've got the 800 one. This 1050 is a 2015 bike. £5,400. Got panniers, got the slight metallic sheen in the paintwork. Or is it just dust? I don't know. It's on proper tyres. That is going to be a good touring bike. Multistrada. This white one is a bit of a billy bargain. This one is under £6,000. There we go. 26,000 miles on it, which is why it's so cheap. And also, it needs a bit of repair work to the front end. And someone needs to take the rim tape off it to give it another lease of life. But yeah, the thing here is you've just got so much variety under one roof. Like, even in a multi-franchise new bike dealer, you don't get the same amount of variety. Is Sam Fender going to copyright strike my video? This is another bike that is very tempting at under £7,000, R9T. This is a 2015 model. They didn't really change much, so just get the earliest one you want. And yeah, one to fit your budget and then add all the billet stuff to it. This one's just over £6,000. It's got some cylinder head protection on it. Great bikes, great little summer scratcher. Right, let's go and have a look at some stuff out front. Okay, we're in a Yamaha naked bike corner now. I've got MT-07s, a first gen MT-10 SP for just under £10,000. Don't buy that, buy my one. But there is a second gen MT-10 here for just over 10 grand with 1,600 miles on it. It's on a 72 plate, so late 2022, 220 quid a month if you take their finance. I love the standard MT-10 almost as much as I love my SP version. That is a silly amount of bike for just over 10 grand. This is rare. You can't really see it because it's backlit. It says don't touch it because it's probably the most expensive bike in here. It's £22,000 because it's a Rocket 3 TFC. Look at that. Don't think I've ever seen one of these. You've got all the brushed aluminium and gold trinkets on there, carbon bits, got a little TFC badge there, Arrow exhausts. I think that's probably my favourite bike here, which is probably why they put it next to the front door, isn't it? Let's be honest. ZH2R, never ridden one, never ridden a Kawasaki, never ridden a supercharged Kawasaki. This is yours £10,900. It's a 70 plate, so that's late 2020, 3,700 miles on it. Part of me likes the naked supercharged thing. Whether I'd like it for scratching, I'm not sure. I think it'd probably feel a little bit heavy, but it's a cool bike for that price. Fireblade. Yes, look at this. Again, very new. How much is it? 13.8. It's a 2022 Fireblade for just under 14 grand with 1,800 miles on it. Good lord. That is, yeah, that's a big reduction in price. But anyway, on to my depreciation hero. There's a couple of them in here. Can you guess what it's going to be? It starts with speed triple and ends in RR. These things were not loved by buyers. I remember Michael Neves absolutely hated his long-termer one. Maybe that's a bit unfair, but look, these are 18 grand. They still are 18 grand actually. £9,500 with 2,000 miles on it. Yeah, if you want to be uncomfortable on a speed triple, get one of those. There's 3 of them in here. Oh, 1198S, my old bike. I had a red one of these. £7,890, and then add about 4 grand for maintenance, but it'll be worth it because it'll roast your bottom in the most exciting ways. 1199 Panigale, my first ever Panigale, well, the first ever Panigale. First one of these I ever rode was in Milton Keynes. I worked at Volkswagen Group, and Ducati brought their truck of bikes to the office. Anyone that had a bike license can go terrify themselves at lunchtime. I did exactly that. It was scary, it was wild, it was quite entertaining and very top-endy. And this S model is still 14 grand, 8,500 miles. That feels expensive. I'm sure it's not. And the last ones, I guess, 10,400. That's a late 2018 plate. A couple of R1s here. I like this colour scheme on the R1. £11,900, 13,000 miles on it. Someone's done their miles on their 2016 R1. This one's a 2021 with similar mileage actually. And yeah, floppy lever protector. Enough said. If you want a cheap-ish GS 1200, I think this is one of the last air oil cooled ones. This is a 2009 bike. This one is 7 grand. It's 2009, it's only done 12,000 miles. That's not even run in yet, mate. That looks quite tidy. I'd love to have a go on a proper old GS. And then we've got some newer ones down here and some 1250s as well. This 1250 is 10 grand. 16,000 miles on a 2019 plate. That looks quite smart. Though obviously of these you want to make sure it's got all the electronic suspension. Yada, yada, yada. Then we've got the more middleweight KTMs, 790s, 890 Adventures. There's a lot of them. I half wonder if P&H just left these here when they moved out. This one looks very shiny and new. What are you? 2023 bike, 890 Adventure, 8 grand with 1,000 miles on it. I mean, why would you buy a new one, even with KTM's discounts? Just buy a lightly used one from somewhere like this. Rather tellingly, one of the sold bikes over there is a Tenere 700. Someone's got the right idea. Right, I'm going to leave it here, the Ducati SuperSport S. I love these. On the road, if you want a road-going Ducati that isn't a Panigale V2, these are epic. The Erling suspension on these are so comfortable. You've got loads of grunt from the engine. Yours for £6,800, 15,000 miles on it. Oh, I think that's a bit of a Billy bargain. £7,200 for this one with 9,000 miles, 2017 bike. If you can get over the kind of the looks and the fact that you're not riding a Panigale, these give you all a Ducati feeling without the backache. So there we have it, quick look at Superbike Factory down here in Crawley. And actually, to be honest, the stock was in much better condition than I'd heard. I'd heard some kind of horror stories about bikes going rusty in the showroom, not being prepped, not being well looked after, and all the rest of it. But actually, it was all fine. It's just interesting seeing the used prices of bikes with that massive selection. This isn't an advert for them.
But it is quite depressing just reviewing new bikes and having to list these ridiculous prices. I know everyone's getting them on finance and all the rest of it, but if you want a bargain, you have to buy used, don't you? Preferably a used MT-10 SP.
Actually, just as a little coda to that visit to Superbike Factory, I'd never seen P&H as busy as it was in there just now. There were a lot more people browsing than I ever saw when it was Ducati, KTM, Suzuki and all the other brands, Honda. So yeah, all power to them. Hopefully they keep people biking, bring more people in. There was a young lad there buying his first full power bike. I love seeing things like that, because it reminds me that maybe our hobby is not gonna die, like all the Doom Lords seem to be saying, me included. But anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.